Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Today's video is going to be a draw my life video, and I'm going to talk about, my background, where it came from, the struggles I faced, and how I basically got to the point where I am now in my life. So yeah, let's just jump right into the video. Okay, so if you've watched my previous videos, you've seen that I have mentioned before where I'm from, when I was born, a bit about my history and things like that, but I've never really gone too much in depth. So I decided to do a little draw my life video, and I'm gonna do it a bit different. I'm not gonna actually sit and draw. I'm just gonna talk about my life and kind of my background and my life story, and kind of give you guys an insight on who I really am as a person and how I got to where I am right now. And I have a little sheet here with some points because I feel like I'm going to start rambling if I don't. So I'm going to start off right from the beginning, and kind of go from there. So I was born on June 24th, 1996. I was born in Brașov, Romania, but I grew up in a small town or small city, I guess, called Rupea. I don't know if it's necessarily considered a city, but I think it is. It's like 5,000 people. And a little cool story about my birth was that I was born on the same day with my cousin. And yes, I know a lot of people, experience that, but the cool story is that she came early and I came late. So when my mom went to the hospital, she looked at the patient's board and she saw my aunt's name, and then they realized that they were in the same room. So they basically gave birth in the same room, we're side by side, and she came 15 minutes early and I came after her. So we basically grew up together after that. So I guess that's a little cool background story about how I was born. So yeah, me and my cousin grew up basically together. We celebrated birthdays together, or certain parts of our lives together. And yeah, so that was a cool thing. Anyway, so from the time when I was born to about when I was 3.5, so about beginning of 2000, I lived in that small town, a small city, Rupea, with my family. And in 2000, and just after New Year's, my parents packed everything and we moved to Canada. And when we got here, obviously I don't remember much, I was 3, but apparently I didn't really like it. So they kept me here for a little while, and then they ended up sending me back with a family friend back home. And then from then on, so from then 3.5, I lived in Romania with my grandparents. And I had an amazing childhood. I don't ever remember hating the way I grew up, because I always look back and I was I wish my children, when I grow up, have the same kind of childhood, especially living in a small city. I had the opportunity to all the kids I remember on the streets every night would get out together and play soccer, or we'd play hide and go seek. And I remember we would play hide and go seek in the cemetery, and we'd have the greatest time because we were all together, and all the kids, and the weekends were a blast. Or we lived the way our city's built. I'll insert some pictures. So the way our city is, it's kind of like this. So it's like a hill, and on top of the hill is a fortress. So we lived on one of the hills that go up to the fortress. So we had a hill to go down sledding on. So we would go up at the top and go sledding. So that was always so fun, and that was so amazing, and so crazy to think that I had that experience growing up. So I kind of went back and forth from Romania to Canada for a little while. I would either go in the summers there, or my parents would come there, or they would come for Christmas there. And but I don't really remember the first few years of my life, I guess. And then when I was about 5, they brought me back to Canada. And that's when I started to get, I remember certain things. And they brought me back to Canada because my mom was pregnant with my sister. So I remember I came to Canada, and they always asked, do you want siblings? And I was like, yeah, I want siblings. And then, a few months later, my mom gave birth to my sister. So I stayed, and I did grade 1 in Canada. And then when my sister was 6 months, so I stayed here about a year. So when my sister was 6 months, they sent us back to Romania. So that was hard for my parents. That was like, I think, really traumatic, especially for my mom, because, you know, my sister was newborn. She was 6 months old. My mom got on a plane with us and brought us back to Romania. She stayed for a few months with us, and then she flew back to start working. They ended up coming back to Romania 6 months later. So my sister had turned one, or she was a few months old, 1 and a few months old. And my mom was really upset when she got there, because my sister was, when my mom walked in, my sister had gone, "Who is this lady?" Like, she goes, "Who's this lady?" And my mom started crying. And we have that on videotape, and I think it really, like, struck a chord with them that, you know, like, oh, our kids are there by themselves. And yes, we had a great childhood. My parents did miss out on a lot, especially in my sister's life, more than they did in mine, I guess. Well, yeah, no, actually, it might have been the same, but they didn't really miss that much. They think they did, but I don't see it that way. But so because of that whole experience, my sister not remembering who they were, my parents came back a lot more often. And then I think when she was three or four, I can't even remember, they ended up bringing her to Canada, and she lived here with them for a year, just so she can get to know them, see who they are. So she used to travel a lot with them because they're truck drivers. So they used to travel with her all the time, and she kind of got to know who her parents are. And then that same year, my parents had called me. They didn't tell me what happened. They just told me, "You need to get on a plane and come to Canada." And I didn't know why. I was expecting them to come and bring Bianca back. So I got on a plane. I was still very young. I was maybe 14. Yeah, I was 14. No. Yes, my sister was much older. I don't exactly remember how old I was, but I know I was young because the plane, like, the company didn't let me fly by myself, so I got whatever that's called, like, someone that had to, like, travel with me. So I got to Canada, and my parents sat me down, and they're like, "Okay, like, apparently they had gotten into a really bad accident, like, with their truck, and my sister was in the car with them. Nothing had happened, obviously, but they weren't allowed to have my sister in the truck with them at the time because they didn't ask for permission. So, I mean, they did get in a bit of trouble, so they had to send Bianca back. So I think my dad had come back with me and my sister that same year, and then we went back to Romania and we stayed there. So my sister was about, I can't remember how old she was, but she was very young, and I was pretty young too, and I kind of, like, took in charge of taking care of her because I loved her so much, and she was so little that, like, I don't know, I took that responsibility. And, you know, my grandparents were different, but, like, when I would go out, she would come with me and we'd hang out and the whole kids, and I would always be very protective of her, and to this day I still am. But we had a great childhood and growing up together and making so many friends growing up. That's the only thing I regret about moving to Canada, like, indefinitely, is I didn't grow up in Romania and that culture and, you know, so many traditions and things that they do that we don't get to do here, and the amount of the close friendships that they built that we haven't been able to be a part of. And I still have a lot of friends there that I talk to, well, a few, but, you know, they're the people that have either distanced themselves from the community in my hometown, or they have different friends and stuff like that, so I just talk to them on occasion. So that's the only thing I really regret. But yeah, we kind of did the whole back and forth from Romania to Canada, from when my sister got back to when I was about 13. Yeah, see, so I was way younger when I went to Canada. Like, I'm just thinking in my head. Yeah, because my sister was only 4, so I was about 10, maybe? 9 or 10? My sister was young. She was maybe even younger than that. See, like, I don't even remember the exact dates, because I came indefinitely in Canada in 2009, so I was 13. Yeah. See, like, it's very blurry, and I don't remember the whole, like, gist of it, like, the whole, like the dates specifically. But yeah, I was much younger than that when my sister came and lived here. So fast track to when I was 13 and we finally moved here. My parents have always their plan was never to stay in Canada long term. They always said like, oh, like we're gonna come work for a few years, or like work a few months and come back, and then come back here and work for a few months. And one thing led to another, and the economy in Romania got really bad. They couldn't find a job. Because at one point my mom came back to Romania, and she wanted to look for a job, but there weren't really good jobs offering, so they ended up coming here. Because I remember they took all their furniture here, they put it on a ship, and they shipped them all to Romania. So like we have so much furniture there and so much crap that we've had from previous years, so that's been crazy. So nothing happened. We ended up coming here at the end of the day, and I started when I was in grade 8. So I left Romania in grade 6, and I skipped grade 7 here, so they put me in grade 8. I don't know why, but I was always a year ahead from everybody that I left behind in Romania. So that was a weird thing, but I never questioned it. My sister went into grade 1 at the time, and she didn't speak a word of English, or she did, but very, very badly. And I remember she couldn't make friends, and she would always follow me around at the school, because I was in grade 8 when she was in grade 1, so we had the same elementary school for the year. She made friends pretty fast. I did too. I made a best friend for life at the first day of school. Her name was also Diana, and she was from Croatia. Unfortunately, she did get deported because she didn't have proper paperwork here, and I missed her like hell. We still talk, and that's how I know it's a lifelong friendship. So I'm always grateful for that. And I made a lot of friends right off the bat in grade 8, but I still felt a bit out of place. Still felt like I didn't know exactly if I fit in or what my place was in this new environment, in this new place that I called home now. And I think it only really settled in as soon as I got to high school, a year later, when I started to really kind of incorporate myself in the community and started to really feel like I belong. So it was a what's it called? It was a process. It was a struggle to kind of find my place. But as soon as I started making friends, and as soon as I started to kind of open up to this new place, I was super fine, and I was very happy and content. So that was amazing. Over the last couple of years, I've struggled a lot with who I want to be and who I am, and finding my place in this world, and finding what I really want to do. And especially now that I'm in school, it's kind of this whole like, what am I doing with my life? Where do I want to be in my life? And it's a struggle, but I'm learning. And I don't know. My mom always says maybe it's the fact that I did grow up without parents, grow up without them, because I saw them all the time. But maybe just this idea that they weren't always there for me, that I'm kind of like really attached to them, and I won't be able to move forward. My mom always says that she feels like I'm too attached to them, and I won't be able to kind of move on with my life. And I'm not. That's not it. But it's like this struggle of like, I love family life so much that I feel like it's so hard for me to distance from it. But yeah, I'm trying to get used to a new community to this day. Being here for so long already, it's been 9-10 years. I'm still trying to get used to it, and that's why I love going back home to Romania, and visiting people and seeing my friends and seeing my family, because I love it. It gives me that sense of home away from home, and because everybody asks me like, where is your home? And I was like, I have two homes. Like, my heart's always here, but my heart's always there too, so it's like I can't choose. I don't think I'll ever move to Romania because of just what I'm studying, and my friends are here, and my family is here, and the economy there is too bad for me to actually go. But I'm, never say never, right? So, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in a few years from now, but as of right now, I can't see myself moving back home. It's been kind of a journey to get to where I am now, and I feel like the journey kind of is going to continue for a long time. But yes, my childhood was kind of a back and forth, going from Romania to Canada, from Canada to Romania, and back and forth, back and forth. I don't think anybody's traveled so much as a kid as I have. Like, I am, to this day, like, I remember every single plane ride I took, well, after a certain age, and so many adventures that happened on planes, and so many people that I've met while traveling, and so many, maybe that's what kind of kicked the wanderlust in me, like the whole traveling on planes. I just want to travel the world now because I just want to, like, I love planes, you know. A lot of people were like, oh, I hate planes, I hate traveling when they travel so much, but I don't, like, I legit love them. I just want to travel the world. But yeah, it was definitely a journey. It was definitely like back and forth traveling that kind of a lot of kids didn't do when I was younger. So it was hard, but I'm here and I have a crazy family that I love, and I would not change the way my life went for anything. And you know, what I went through, it's what made me who I am today. So, but yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you guys really enjoyed it, and I hope you got a sense of who I am a bit better. But I will see you guys in my next video, and don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified when I do post. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!